you travel to the 25th century and you look at this moment through their eyes, they will look back at us and say, the early 2020s, 2030s, that's when Homo sapiens turned the corner and they realized death was no longer inevitable.
Had you ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues?
Yeah, depression.
Did you take any medications for that?
I tried several.
Nothing worked.
Yeah. The single most important thing happening in this part of the galaxy is on this Earth, we're giving birth to superintelligence. It's going to transform our existence in ways we can't even comprehend. It is the biggest thing happening.
Do you ever worry that essentially another form of intelligence is dictating what you do with your own body?
AI is mastering human patterns of thought. It will soon be better at being you than you are.
The algorithm is the matrix.
You're already in the matrix.
But shouldn't we fight that?
We should probably do it correctly. It's happening. We're already in it. That don't die is the next major ideology to emerge as a species, where existence is the highest virtue. That is the new framework for how we conduct our lives.
I told my team before the blueprint, I think, I just watch whatever he does and copy it. And the way, so I don't know anything. That's why we won't talk about any treatments or anything.
Yeah.
Because you've done it a million times. He's a doctor.
Yeah.
I do everything you do. And I know if we'll put down camera, probably yes. But I know nothing about it. All I know is that I trust my team.
Yeah.
And the reason I follow you is I trust your way of analyzing things, like how logical you are about it and data-based.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I like the way he thinks. I trust my team. They're not going to poison me. And I just do everything. I don't know any of the needles I take, nothing at all.
Yeah.
All I know is that you and others, I've always felt okay.
Yeah.
I struggle with a few things like sleep. I'm bad at that and stuff. And
don't ask him his HRV. It's really bad.
Yeah, HRV is like, it's really like, that's not a good thing. Other metrics are pretty good, but it's because I travel and I'm in the political
no excuses,
world.
Man.
The
There's
politics.
No excuses.
Try getting into politics, man. It just drains you out.
I have a 17-month-old and my HRV is higher than his. So.
Yeah.
But I think something's just like the way you think, the way you approach life. You seem like a very chill guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think it's probably true that because we mimic those around us, right? Like we are the energy of our closest friends. And I know friends that are in crypto and politics, they just have this higher frequency, like they just bounce. And those that are in, calmer, slower wave worlds. So I agree with you. Like you kind of mimic, and I think politics does have this very high frequency vibe that's just very strung up.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well has to do with your life in general, how your brain is wired. So I've always struggled with sleep. I've always overthought things. Like one thing I struggle with, I always do this in interviews, nothing on my agenda, but one thing I struggle with is I'm always, I try to see what makes me happy. Yeah. You're very stable. You're very balanced. You've got your family. You're a family man. I'm still trying to figure you out. And
he's somewhere in the middle, actually. I think
you are.
At least I've watched a lot of your stuff. As a doctor.
Yeah.
As a doctor, I had a conversation with a few of my friends. We all went to Penn together, and this they're not fans. And I was just saying this before. I think it's because you're what's next. And everything we've learned doesn't fit. And it's kind of interesting. So, kind of taking a step back on like people and how they're wired. I've always been wired to be like outside of the norm.
Yeah.
And I think sounds like you're kind of the same.
Yeah. What's their specific critique?
They think N of 1 studies don't make sense. They think that this is not the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Like we can do larger studies.
Yeah.
Stacking additional things on top of each other don't tell you which one's actually working.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and they think that if you really want to improve longevity, especially the public health folks, they're like, we should stop car accidents. We should stop. We should get people to wear seatbelts and end obesity.
Yeah.
And, depending on personal beliefs, right? Because I know it's going to be on X, but vaccinated, take antibiotics when you have a bacterial infection. Those are the things that can get you to live longer.
Yeah.
They find what you're doing to be a little bit in the face of what could help everybody. And I disagree. I disagree very strongly with that.
Yeah.
Why do you think that you get all that hate? Like one thing when I saw all the hate you got, I'm a very logic database person when it comes to this and everything. And I was always trying to understand, is it people just scared of what you're talking about? They cannot fathom the concept of living forever. Like he wants to die comfortably. I want to live forever. I know it's a low likelihood.
Yeah.
but it's still enough to chase it. Why do you think you're getting all that hate?
Yeah. I mean, Ashley Vance, who did this, so he did the Elon Musk biography, then he wrote this piece in Bloomberg, which blew this whole thing up. And he made a comment to me that he has never in his entire life written about something that has so much energy. Like it just sits on this insatiable store that no matter where you go, everybody has an opinion of Bryan Johnson. It's just like it's a situation where you can't be in the middle. You've got some strong opinion about some vector. And initially, I didn't anticipate that there was this gigantic store of energy, but really it hits people at the most consequential areas of their life. So if you're a doctor, right, you're going to say like, I understand the world through RCTs. Like this N=1 doesn't make sense. You have to do these large trials and we have to look at these population level data. And so they apply their argument. And someone else is like, living forever scares me because all my friends are going to die. And other people are like, you can't, like, everyone finds their angle, like challenges their existential understanding of reality or their profession or their habits or their friend culture or like something, but it hits at something sacred in their world. And they feel like they have to defend it, like to the death. Because I'm basically saying, if these ideas are right, some of these ideas we live by are wrong, which means death to old ideas and habits and customs. And that's why people have to, they almost feel like they are shortened of breath. They have to knock back really hard. So it creates a really strong response.
Question for you on that. In the Middle Ages, leeches were normal.
Yeah.
Right? We bloodlet. And we did all of that. And at that time, I'm sure those doctors felt real good about themselves.
Yeah.
What is the medical leeching today? Like, what is it in this current world? Because there's a lot of stuff that we do that may or may not be backed by evidence. Marty Macri's come out and talked about
exactly. Yeah, I'm really making one simple observation in everything I do. I'm saying that if you travel to the 25th century, so a few hundred years from now, and you look at this moment through their eyes, they will look back at us and say, the early 2020s, 2030s, that's when Homo sapiens turned the corner and they realized death was no longer inevitable, that existence was the highest virtue, that they were giving birth to superintelligence. That's when you transition as a species from debauchery and YOLO and accepting death to moving to become a new species. That's it. That's my only observation of reality.
So I did a video yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, just a quick live. And I said, I travel the world. I usually do political interviews, world leaders and all that. But then I'm here, chatting to you and chatting to Vinod and others about AI and longevity, which I think are the two most important things facing society.
Yeah.
Everyone cares about which territory this country should take or who has more money. But AI, as big of a risk it is to humanity, it still doesn't get the amount of hate that longevity gets.
Yes.
Which is, again, mind-boggling to me. Considering longevity is, if you talk to anybody, what's more exciting? You being able to live another 100 years, if not forever, at least have the option of when to die or if to die, versus a form of intelligence, a new form of intelligence, which is terrifying. Some outcomes are terrifying. Longevity is obviously, you're an example of how much more hate it gets. Again, I want to kind of touch on that a bit further. Why is that fear coming out? And then how could we change that? Because I think if you don't get people adopting what you're doing, we're not going to have much progress.
Yeah. I'll yes and your question with like a furtherance of the contemplation and without an answer. But I would say that the argument, so I'm making the same argument you just did, which I'm saying the single most important thing happening in this part of the galaxy is on this earth, we're giving birth to superintelligence. It's going to transform our existence in ways we can't even comprehend. It is the biggest thing happening.
Like what? Can you elaborate on that?
I mean, so if you
where do you see us in 50 years time? Because everyone has different theories.
No one knows.
Because this is the thing. I've interviewed like Arvind Srinivas from Perplexity and other folks on the AI side, and I'm definitely skeptical because like my academic research was in AI, and I just think that we're maybe overblowing that a little bit. You don't think?
So I guess
because you're an entrepreneur. Before all of this, you actually built companies, and so don't you think we're overblowing it a little bit?
So I think if you just take the general premise that we can now build intelligence methodically and we can scale it methodically. We don't know what the scaling laws are. We don't know at what rate it's going to grow, if it's going to plateau, when it's going to plateau. But over some duration of time, the fact that we can continually build intelligence it seems to me a reasonable bet that this intelligence will continue to grow. It will outstrip our abilities in all ways. It will know more than we know. It will be better at discovering than we know. So we've built a form of intelligence that is transcending us. We don't know by how much, we don't know when, but I would still say that given that context, still, no matter where it goes, it has exceeded us as a species. So you can debate the nuances of this and that, but what I'm trying to say is, like, generally speaking, like, what's more important? You know, like some debate over some social norm that society's fighting about, or the fact that we're giving birth to superintelligence, like that we're exceeding ourselves as a species. To me, it's like very obvious. It is the most important thing happening. And then the second is that no human can say anything intelligent about what's going to happen. No one knows. And so we're in this total state of unknowing. And then you hear experts, like everyone's like piping off with their own ideas. They don't know. They can't predict this kind of stuff. And so what I'm saying is, in this moment, when this whole phenomenon is happening and we don't know, what is the most logical and reasonable thing we can do? We lock in on the only thing we can say with confidence is none of us want to die right now. That is literally the only thing we know.
You've added right now to make it more, more relatable to people.
I've always said right now.
Oh,
it's just like, don't die sticks, but it's always right now, because I don't pitch living forever. I pitch don't die right now, because what I'm trying to say is AI alignment follows. Like, AI alignment is the most important thing. You give birth to AI, what do? Like, use it for war, use it for money making. And so what I'm saying is, don't die right now is the singular thing that all intelligence agrees upon.
But I think I know why people get upset about it, because you're challenging God.
Yes. That and plus
that's really but even the medical establishment, as a doc, like, you're challenging my medical God, right? Like, there's always, everybody has something that they're like, what is the thing that when I'm taking a tumor out of someone's body, I don't think to myself, like, I'm not thinking about longevity. I'm thinking about saving their life. It's like, you're like you're going to the root of all of it, which is, of course, people don't want to die.
Yes, exactly.
But you are challenging the role of external control, and you're saying the locus of control is all internal, that we get to choose whether we die or not. And a lot of people don't have that choice.
Exactly.
So what do you say to those people? I mean, it's like for example, you were Mormon. You were very clear about it in the movie, and just in general, you were very clear about it. Like, have you ever thought to yourself that maybe you're just replacing Mormonism with the Don't Die movement and building your own version?
I mean, there's definitely a bridge, right? Where my upbringing said, here is the story of reality. If you play by these rules of reality, you get this prize, right? Like, the whole thing's figured out, just play by the rules. And so when I left that religion, I was left with basically a vacancy. Like, how do I understand reality? Like, what is even going on? And so I've been trying to answer that really fundamental question, almost like Albert Camus, the French philosopher, like, went to the edge. But I guess if you follow my thoughts, they get increasingly upsetting for many people. Like, other people get very excited. Like, basically, if you get to the first layer where I say, it's really important to go to bed on time, right? Every night, have your bedtime, go to bed on time. People will be like, bro, you're not living life. You need to live life. You need to be up with your friends. Right? So they'll get upset with me on that line of reading. Then I go to the next layer and I say, okay, so also, and on top of that, like, we're giving birth to superintelligence, and we're trying to figure out what we know and don't know and how we actually cooperate. People will get really upset with that. The next layer down, it goes like 5 layers down. Here's the next layer for you. I'm saying that it is not wise for us as a species to trust our minds as much as we do right now. And so
that's for me, just sounds so logical. Like, our minds has done. How many stupid decisions have you taken? How many stupid decisions have people taken? Like, holy shit, what is he doing? Sure. I'm in politics. I see the impact of these stupid decisions on the world.
But then what will take over? We're going to trust AI to make decisions for us?
So what I've been doing is, I basically said a couple of years ago, I said that it would be much better for me to let my body make decisions and not my mind. Now, I realize, like, if you look at this from a technical perspective, mind and body are the same.
The same exact thing.
But like in the colloquial speak, okay. So like, if I'm walking to work and I pass a bakery and I smell freshly baked croissants, but I don't want to eat a croissant, is my best version of myself. But I'm like, honestly,
that's following your mind.
Yeah.
But if you have a system that says don't eat a croissant,
but hold on.
That's following the system.
See, this is the thing. So I was going to ask you a bunch of questions around social. The only long-term study that the medical establishment has done has shown that social connection and social, strong, deep relationships increase your health span. The study at Harvard, I'm sure you've read it.
Yeah, I have.
Social connection is me sitting down with my wife and sharing a croissant.
Yeah. So you certainly can sit down with your wife.
Why do you have to have a croissant?
Exactly.
That's one of the stupidest things. It's like, you sit with your wife.
We enjoy that because
But
when we were in college.
But that's following your brain. Like, you enjoy the croissant, but the cool thing is sitting with your wife.
Yeah, but I think the point is sharing things together sometimes can be. And so the point that I'm trying to make is
share a broccoli.
Sure. I'm sure that won't go the same way. But my point is more, even when I look at your life, at least what's public, right? Social connection is there because you're doing all of these events. But we got the chance to meet Thomas, and
such a cool kid.
It was the coolest experience. He's awesome.
He's great.
Is he here?
But the social connection that comes from love and being in a loving relationship. It seems like you're still kind of in search for that.
So let me explain this. So I hear what you're saying. Okay. So let's remove for a minute the ideas of social reality of the words we just assembled. Let's just say you are a collection of 35 trillion cells. Okay. You're a collection of 35 trillion cells. Your wife is a collection of 35 trillion cells. You two sit down and have some kind of interaction, which is a social interaction, right?
Yeah.
You're producing a certain biochemical state based upon the interaction. Like, certain chemicals are flowing based upon that. You're expressing certain methylation patterns. You have certain neurotransmitters. Like, you have a biochemical reaction to social interactions.
Yeah.
You introduce the croissant. The croissant goes into the 35 trillion cells. It spikes blood glucose. It changes the expression of, right? So it has this metabolic effect that is actually bad for your body. So what I'm just saying is, if you take away the storytelling of society, what we've done is we've wrapped death in these pretty stories that justify the behaviors. But if you look at it from a pure biological perspective, it's death.
Except it might not be, because your mind and your body are actually connected. You are not just an amalgamation of millions of trillions of cells. And ultimately, like, the thing that I'd be very interested in is there's a lot of things that we can't measure. Like, you're focusing on what we can measure, right?
Sure.
And, you ran a business. I run a business now.
Yeah.
When you can look at the metrics of each department and they look great, but the business is shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you, and your mind, body, we know, for example, the placebo effect is real. People literally, if they believe that they're beating the cancer, even though the drug is not even chemotherapeutic, it's a sugar pill, they beat the tumors evaporate.
Yeah.
So are you telling me that that's nothing like that? So you don't believe in any of that?
So what I'm saying is that in this conversation, so what I'm trying to establish is there's the laws of physics and there's the way biology behaves. And if we just separate those things from human storytelling, you can actually measure death. You can measure entropy. You can measure how your body decays. And then you can isolate and say, if you have excessive sugar, here's what happens biochemically in the body. And if you do the following things. And so what I'm saying is, if you just take it from an absolute pure biology and physics perspective,
I got it.
What things cause death? Then you can say, great, now we have baseline stuff. Now let's rebuild human custom around things that promote life.
Got it.
And so what I'm saying is, people attack this at a cultural layer.
Yeah, but
and what I'm saying is, you want a medical, physics, biology-based perspective, because it's not like I can only socially have enjoyment if it's from a croissant, right? Like, you can do so many things that actually encourage more life. And that's what people get tripped on, is they hit me at the social cultural layer, and I'm saying, this is a physics and biology project. So back to the body, what I was trying to say is, I started 4 years ago to say, okay, if I measure every organ of my body, I get like thousands of data points, and I say, what is my body saying? And then can we take that data and map it to lifestyles, food, exercise, and therapies that increase my lifespan, health span? We're going to let the system just run, like in an autonomous form. And I'm not going to superimpose onto this data, like, here's my pretty picture of reality. I'm going to let my biological system run with data and science in a closed loop fashion. And that's why I'm saying, like, my mind is a rascal. My mind's going to be like, just have the cookie today. Like, you deserve it. Like, you've had a long day. You're stressed out. Like, honestly, it's going to make you feel better and you're going to be happier from it. Like, I try to remove those stories from the inputs.
So a couple of things. One is more personal, because I've been living a similar lifestyle for many years, not to your extent, obviously. You sometimes have that issue where longevity does not add up to your personal life. Being able to go out, being able to enjoy nightlife, being able to, I like adrenaline. I like to do things to get my adrenaline going. And I know you faced loneliness, especially when your son left. Do you have those struggles? we have to choose one or the other?
Definitely, yes. And I guess what I've experienced in a transition is that, like so I went to Paris Hilton's house on Tuesday night. She had a dinner. I went there, and I got home at midnight. So very rare occurrence for me. So I go to bed very regularly at 8:30 p.m. So it's like 3.5 hours past my bedtime. I woke up the next morning with this throbbing headache the entire day. I just felt down, depressed.
How many hours did you sleep?
6.5. So I still got pretty good sleep.
That's not bad.
But
that's fair.
but if you miss your sleep
what was
routine,
your HRV?
HRV was actually good. Yeah, it's like
because that's like you're still on your basal HRV essentially.
Yeah, so it's still okay, but like it just like shift you when you miss your first sleep window, you miss the majority of your deep. So you can't just like go to bed late and make up. You actually miss your circadian rhythm. So even though that happened, because my sleep is so good, it pummeled my understanding of reality. I felt more depressed. I was more negative. I felt like the world was heavier than it was. Instead of I had this really robust can-do attitude, I felt beat down. And I just one night of bad sleep. Now, like I've had the experience. I have kids. I've had those experiences where one night you get 2 hours of sleep. But I guess what I'm saying is I now know from experience, those things cause me sadness, like eating a donut or pizza or staying up late or drinking, or they just wreck me. And so I no longer have a positive association. They make me feel sad. And so I've moved to other things. Like we have morning rave dance parties. Right? My son and I do different things. So I get the adrenaline, I get the excitement.
Morning rave parties, you do that?
Yeah.
How, honestly, but you have an advantage over others doing your lifestyle. If someone wants to go to your extreme, is that you do have a big audience, you have a big community that kind of gives you purpose, gives you people around you. But if you didn't have that, it seems like a very tough life.
Very lonely life.
So this is the thing. I know, I hear what you're saying. And I would invite you to question if the assumptions you're making are correct, or if you've just not experienced this.
Fair.
People come at this so hard, they assume they've got it cornered and I'm in the wrong. So I have tremendously good health. All my biomarkers show it. But yet I'm on the stand being accused by the prosecutor of being guilty of not being happy.
Are you genuinely happy?
Genuinely happy.
All right, let's talk about that a little bit more. Happiness, because this is the question that everybody's interested in. And I don't know how many doctors have interrogated you on it yet. I'm sure many. But, when you say happiness, it means different things to different people. Before all of this, had you ever been and again, this, you don't have to answer this. Had you ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues?
Yeah. Depression for a decade.
Yeah. Did you take any medications for that?
I tried several. Yeah.
Nothing worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard because we have blunt instruments.
Exactly. I tried TDCS, TMS, antidepressants. Wow. I tried.
You did it all.
I tried everything I could try. I was a lay person trying to find it. I did my best though, with the therapies I could find.
Did you ever feel like, through that depression, you ever had moments where you felt like things were,
absolutely
severe depression?
Yeah.
And then you found, at least from what I've seen, that it was this disconnect between you and your faith that was that around the same time or was that after?
I was in a bad relationship. I had bad health. I was in a religion I wanted to leave. I wasn't getting good sleep. My diet was awful. I was obese, right? Like all those factors were off and it just created this crushing environment.
And I don't care what any of the medical people say, but today, I bet you within the next 24 months, GLP-1s will be approved for depression and anxiety. Surprise, obesity was always the problem.
Yeah.
Right? Surprise. I think we're seeing everything is connected to that. So I agree in the core premise, but then the next sort of obvious question is, if you now know that your body is connected to your mind and is actually driving that, and you have to separate your body from your mind, how do you prevent yourself from going down what a natural route would be, like something closer to OCD or getting over hyper focused on this and focusing on the wrong thing? How do you prevent that? Because right now, some could say that this is maybe an obsession, not a compulsion, but definitely the obsession part.
Yeah. So I would ask is LeBron James obsessed about basketball? Should we be concerned?
Yeah. Obsessed about the right thing is not a bad thing.
Is Ronaldo, should we intervene? Is he too obsessed about soccer?
Yeah. It's 100%. When I was in training, I was obsessed about operating, right? It's literally high achieving people.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying is the the criticisms people level at me,
It's like you're too good.
it's just like it's like
That's funny.
it's so funny. We actually break it down, right? I've never actually. So I would describe my happiness on through a few vectors. Like one is I live a really intense life, right? Like I've got an intense amount of haters coming at me from every angle. And it's not just haters. It's like people spreading misinformation. It's like the biggest media publications in the world doing takedown pieces on me. Like,
I had a hit piece an hour ago on me from
like literally
NPR.
NPR just did
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Last week, The Guardian. So I've seen yours. I actually did a tweet on it. It's one of the stupidest hit pieces I've seen.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
It was the New York Times, I think.
Yeah.
They're doing one on me, I think, next week.
Yeah.
They contacted him yesterday.
Who's the reporter?
I don't know. Who is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if anyone who knows somebody who's been on the other side of a New York Times hit piece, they literally fucking make shit up.
It is ridiculous.
It's crazy what they write.
By the way, I have to say this. I don't know how they get away with it.
It's nuts. It is so crazy.
No, they're not getting away with it. They're losing trust.
Yeah, but
Very,
dude,
very
like,
quickly.
but you know what? There are people out there right now that think very
100%.
differently of you. Like I'll
Less
tell you,
confirmation bias.
I'm gonna put my wife out there. She thinks because especially women,
Yeah.
you know this that article really hurt because it's like they go after the thing that will make you look the worst.
That has nothing to do with
That has nothing to do with your mission. And clearly there's three sides to every story. And I think it just seems like they're trying to paint a narrative that really did hurt. Yep. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if you agree.
I agree.
I was surprised when you told me. I think your son or you told me earlier today that it hurt your Bryan. I don't get how. It just doesn't make sense. But continue what you were saying earlier.
Yeah. So the intensity of my life is rigorous, right? And so I guess the question is, how can what is my ability to withstand those attacks, right? Do I feel smothered by them? Do I feel beat down? Do I feel like I can come back? Can I be cheerful with my teammates? Can I get good sleep? And so when the New York Times posted this article, was basically taunting them, my sleep was perfect, right? I'm trying to say it's bullshit. You fucking made shit up, right? I realize some people in the world are going to fall for this. That's the game. I'm okay. And so I was basically trying to flex. I have tremendous emotional and psychological resilience. I'm fine. I'm going to work through this. People are going to forget your shitty article. I'm going to bounce back. I'm going to prove to you I'm not that at all. So if I wasn't sleeping well, if I had a poor diet, I might have a very different reaction, right? I might act out. I might really get beat down but
it's incredible because what you're saying is physical resilience gives you emotional stability, which I think the world can actually use a little bit of it right now.
Like how many of the world's problems are the fact that we don't sleep? Most probably.
I do want to go back to something you said earlier, is creating the systems, which I agree with. But then you start to see a bit of an overlap here. Those systems, you questioned it a bit. When you start moving away from what your brain tells you to do to a system you've built, eventually that system goes into AI and AI becomes your system. And as we move into a world of AGI, do you ever worry that essentially another form of intelligence is dictating what you do with your own body? Does that concern you?
So my read of the situation with this is that AI is mastering human patterns of thought. It's it's trained on the corpus of language, right? And it's getting more data from more sensors, but basically it's why it can autocomplete an email, it can autocomplete a text, right? Increasing it knows your pattern and it can predict. This is the information theory. Yeah. And so you just simply map this out over a certain duration of time. At what point in time will it be able to autocomplete the thought you have before you complete it? And then at what point in time will it autocomplete that thought in a better way than you can complete? And I'm saying that that's not very far away because our patterns are very, most of us are NPCs, 99% of the time. We live in this very predictable fashion. We repeat the same patterns. So my read is AI is doing a great job emulating and matching our patterns. It will soon exceed our patterns, which means it will soon be better at being you than you are.
Okay, expand on that a bit further. How far do you think that could go? How far do you think when an artificial intelligence that knows you better than you know yourself is better than dictating what you should do than your brain? And then you start seeing those things emerge. I think you've got a company. What's your other company
Kernel.
called? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Do you tell me where Kernel will be in another 10, 15 years? I'm sure there's things that cross your mind. I'm not sure if you've talked about it publicly.
So I built this brain interface company. I started in 2016 with this idea in mind that AI will rebuild your model of a human, like everything you know, and your proclivities and your habits and your beliefs, and it will be able to auto-complete you in all vectors. And that's like, in this interview, an AI of you could show up and interview me.
I'm already working on it.
Right?
He's
exactly.
Already.
So like we're actually embracing that, right? Like you're doing it, a lot of people are doing it, and it's not, you've seen the examples, it's not incomprehensible that they legit could be you in a very high fidelity fashion. But when that happens, so then the question is, what do we become as a species? And so I built this brain interface. It's the world's first mass market neuroimaging device. It took us 7 years to build. We did full stack, very, very hard to do. And it reads out brain data real time. And then we were pairing that with AI to say, like, basically what happens when you build a closed loop system with AI. So what if I could sit in front of a screen and have something in my ears and then some haptics on? And I could just say, all right, AI, I'm going to sleep right now. Help me go to sleep. And let's say AI is measuring like my HRV, it's measuring like my skin, my temperature, it's measuring like my pupil dilation. And it uses images and sounds and haptic feedback to somehow get my body, and it runs an algorithm. I'm not sure what it's doing, but it's just like a sleep prep. Or maybe it's like, I'm about to go on a podcast. Can you get me in the right state of mind to have this conversation? And so you basically pair AI with the human. So these are like speculative ideas, but the question was, if you give an AI a system to speak to the body with high fidelity and in real time, you don't even have to tell the body what it's doing. Just like run the algo and give it,
But you see where that ends up, right?
Exactly. Like essentially the AI is making decisions for you, which I'm not saying is a bad thing.
No, it's the matrix.
It's the unknown.
It's the freaking matrix.
This is what's happening now. You pull up your phone and scroll. That's what's happening.
The algorithm is the matrix.
I mean, like we're already in it. Like, what's any different than going to Netflix and picking? You're already in the matrix. Like,
but like, shouldn't we fight that?
I mean, like we should probably do it correctly, but it's happening. We're already in it. And what's being run is those algorithms are being run not for your benefit, but for their profit.
Like, what's the value of living forever when AI is making all your decisions?
Oh,
what's the value?
So why,
like literally, why we're not talking about your decisions.
Hold on, but would you want to live longer today? AI is already making a lot of the decisions for you already today.
No, but I get to look this way and I get to look that way. I get to have this any smart AI would tell me to just go continue practice being a surgeon. This is like, it's literally, we have free will. This is the beauty of life.
Could AI lead to the death of free will?
I host these Don't Die dinners here at the house. We basically go through a 2-hour routine and we address this.
What's the TLDR? I know you can't talk about too many things that have happened there.
So I'm not going to spoil it because it really is a great experience. But what I'll tell you is
I'm going to come to one of those.
Okay,
sorry,
so let me tell you this. So this is funny. So I've done, I don't know, a ton of these. And I will tell you that with 99% predictability, I know what people are going to say. It doesn't matter who the group is. I'm serious. It's so much so.
Let's do a test now.
I wrote a 36-page document and with characters. And I wrote down who would speak when, who their archetype is, what they would say. Like, for example, I open with this thought experiment every single time. And like everyone dances around this really social like scene where like one person's like, I'll jump out in front and like express my opinion. Immediately, there's another person that fast follows. Like, I agree with that because like they've got permission, right? Yeah. And then the third answer is someone's like, this is my chance. I'm a contrarian. They pop in. And so like every single time these patterns follow them throughout. So your argument is a like 99.9% predictable argument of what comes up in this conversation around AI and Don't Die. So I'll tell you, this thing, what you're experiencing is you're saying, I perceive myself to be an independent, free will being.
Yes.
And if that part of my identity is compromised, I don't understand what existence means. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this idea has challenged a core belief of your identity.
Yeah, because I do crazy shit. Like I've done crazy stuff. We're sitting here right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like this does not fit a pattern.
Exactly. And so what I'm saying is it strikes you to a degree where it makes reality incomprehensible. You're like, it so defies your perceptions of your free will and your ability to act. And if that's not true, then it breaks your models of reality. And this is why, going back to the point why people would respond so strongly to what I'm doing, it breaks They're models of reality. And in doing that, in like their cultural norms, their professional norms, their existential norms, and they just don't know what to do. But like kind of your reaction is like you hit back with some power, right? Like this makes me feel uncomfortable and I want to tell you about it. And so I'm just saying it's like a very natural process that with AI, it's inviting us to rethink every element of our existence, like including this idea that we're a free will species making independent choices. Like it is rocking our identity to the absolute core. But the thing is, nobody's talking about this. People are talking about like, do we have jobs? Is AI going to go rogue? But this bigger thing's going on, which is our identities are at risk. We no longer understand who we are as a species or individually.
I mean,
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Listening to you, it sounds so deterministic. It sounds like we're all in some simulation. And I know Elon believes that. Other folks believe that. You clearly don't believe that.
I am saying I don't express a belief. I'm just saying the reality is AI is a pattern matching machine. It is becoming very good at doing these patterns. And over time, it's going to become as good or better at being you than you are, which then raises an open question for you. What do we do then? And so I'm just trying to raise the question without diagnosing it. And I'm just saying there's something
but you can't diagnose. You can't raise the question without giving us your thoughts.
So I'm saying that in this moment, we don't know what's going to happen. Like we can't predict it.
There's no way.
Therefore, the only logical thing we can all agree upon is none of us want to die right now. So what this means is it doesn't make sense anymore to kill each other or go to war. It doesn't make sense anymore to inhale death or eat death. What I'm saying is it makes sense for a new philosophy of existence to emerge that don't die is the next major ideology to emerge as a species where existence is the highest virtue. That is the new framework for how we conduct our lives.
Would you say there's another way of living forever, and that's through ignoring your body to an extent or letting it live longer to get to a level where you can upload your consciousness digitally, and that could be the way we end up living forever? Have you thought about that?
I mean, possibly. This is like a typical like baited question for a human, because humans acquire status based upon providing answers of knowing.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to clearly call out, no human understands how to upload mindset. So I can string words together and like, it'd be cool or interesting or I think whatever. Doesn't matter. Like it has zero value information. No one knows. Therefore, I would bring it back to like, so this is like what I'm trying to provide in life is almost every human would take the bait, right? Like I think the following thing about a mind uploading, right? And like try to flex their ability to articulate the problem. What I'm trying to provide is a counter example to say, it's more intelligent to be aware that you actually don't know, right? Unless you've done like rigorous modeling, you've done the mappings of the mind and how you're going to each neuron and like what that would require for neuron coverage and how you'd actually get into a machine and how many connections it would be. Like, unless you have that kind of model, you don't know. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is like, there's a new form of intelligence that's emerging, which is in the area of explicitly saying, I don't know.
One more question on this. First, the I don't know, accepting the fact. So whenever someone asks me if I'm religious, my answer, is there a God? I just said to them, I don't know. And for them, it's just they struggle to understand what do you mean you don't know? You must have some assumption of what could be there. And I genuinely have none because I just don't know. And it's difficult to accept. And I've had this conversation with people very close to me. It's difficult to accept that you just don't know. And I'm sure you can relate to this. But when it comes to things like AI, I think it's very important, especially for you in the business that you have, is that I'm sure there's some predictions or potential theories that you have to prepare for, different paths, like a utopian one, a dystopian one, somewhere in the middle. Because I had a whole discussion with Vinod yesterday about, the future of AI and AGI. So where do you see the world in, let's say, 20 years, 30, 40 years time? Where do you see civilization if we do get to a level through AI that we can extend our life another 100 years, potentially forever?
Yeah.
And we've got another form of intelligence with us. What are different potential outcomes?
Yeah, I would use a thought experiment and say that I would pattern match this to asking that question to Homo erectus 1 million years ago. So that at the time, the axe was like the most innovative thing around. And if you were to pose a question like, tell me about the future of the species, like tell me why it's exciting to imagine our evolved potential, Homo erectus would have in their mind models of foraging and war and like, their local habitat. They wouldn't be able to tell you new framework of microscopic objects called
That's
bacteria.
a million years ago. I'm talking about 20, 30 years from today.
And I'm saying that in 20 to 30 years, maybe the equivalent of a million years of progress.
True.
That's the thing that's fascinating.
Exactly.
So in that case, like the only thing Homo erectus could respond to, right? If they were intelligent, they would say, I don't know. Right? Like I actually don't have the models in my mind. Like there's probably things I don't understand. Right? So they would be correct. They would be correct in saying like there's a microscopic world of bacteria. There's a huge electromagnetic spectra. There's going to be inventions like these glowing objects that allow us to talk to people in real time. There's going to be these quantum computers. Right? And so what I'm saying is to me, the most likely scenario is that we haven't discovered all things. That there's more things to be discovered, and that over a 20 to 30 year time frame, we're going to discover new things that are going to change our models of the world so drastically that we are basically Homo erectus in this moment. That it's a possibility that we are that primitive, and that the only intelligent thing we can say right now is we have no idea. But the risk, the blind spot we have is we have this idea that we're masters of the universe, having figured out, we've discovered particles, and we've created particle colliders, and we've gone to the moon. And so we imagine we're at this apex of intelligence, and therefore it gives us the ability to model. And I'm saying that on the sphere of knowing and unknowing, we may have discovered a fraction of what can be known. And so to me, it comes back to this invitation to express extreme humility that we may not know what's coming. Therefore, and go back to, so therefore, the only thing I know is I just don't want to die right now. And that's keep on coming back to every single time that the conversations I hear in society are running the same loops.
Same loop all the time, yeah.
What's going to happen in 20, 30 years? What's going to be like? You have experts popping off like this idea and that idea. Like, everyone's like, whose predictions have been right? And like, as we look back through history,
okay, so if you take AI out of the picture, because that changes everything, the speed of evolution. If you just look at putting AI aside, if you look at humans, the ability of humans to live forever, how would that alone change society? Have you thought about that?
Yeah. So I don't, because living for tomorrow and living forever are identical ideas. So when you think about living forever, it's almost like a concept of quantum mechanics. It's counterintuitive for our brains to understand many components of quantum mechanics. And the same thing with living forever. It breaks the human brain. We can't understand it. Mm-hmm. But what you do understand is, so if you have things going on tomorrow, I presume, and you're probably excited about those things happening, then when tomorrow comes, you probably have things going on the next day that are exciting. So we understand reality by living through tomorrow. But you have to just say, at what point are you going to arrive at tomorrow where you're like, I'm done. I'm good. Like every night, somehow, there's always one more day ahead of us that we want to do. So I want to say that we shouldn't talk about living forever. It's a concept we can't understand. Therefore, we just want to live for tomorrow.
Well, but the living for tomorrow it really hits, because again, you have a son. I have a young son right now. He's 17 months. And I think to myself, I can't wait till he goes to school. Yeah. I can't wait till he goes to college. I can't wait, or maybe not anymore. Who knows what happens to that? But I can't wait till he gets married. He has his own kids. But then you keep going down that road. And I told Mario, my greatest fear in life is that I will live longer than my son. That it is literally the scariest shit that could ever happen to a parent. I think you could probably relate.
Do you relate? Because for me, I don't have kids, so it's hard for me to relate. Would you relate to that statement before you ask?
Doesn't that sound incredibly awful?
Does that worry you at all?
I'm okay with it. Yeah. So like, people bring up this argument. They say, I don't want to live forever because I'll get bored, or my family's going to die, or my kids are going to die, or my friends are going to die.
I don't relate to that.
But we have people die around us all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Like it happens. And so the argument doesn't stand up. Like things happen, we evolve, and we move on. Like we always move on. And so there's nothing that stops a human from...
There's no fear?
No, that's just life.
So what do you fear?
I don't experience fear. Like it's not something that I relate with.
Do you when you travel, do you have security? I was asking Carlos, I think earlier, do you travel with security considering how much attention you have now?
I haven't. At our recent events, I did have security, but no.
When you go like India, or I know you had a trip to India recently, or go to Europe, or
we haven't, no.
Sorry, I just want to go back to the fear thing. It's weird to not have fear. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit like, I'm not diagnosing. I'm just saying it's a little bit unusual to not have anything that You cannot name one thing you're afraid of.
I mean, so the thing is,
you're not afraid of like a nuclear war happening. You're not afraid of
like,
it's like, it feels like you have like people always say that the most successful people have tremendous internal locus of control.
Yeah.
I actually think like you have a weird sort of like, I'm going to control what I control. And then everything else is, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like this really weird, like it's kind of freaking me out a little.
Yeah.
Where I'm just sitting here being like, so you're not afraid of any of that stuff?
No, because everything is always okay.
What do you mean?
Always. Like, is there anything in your life? Like, I'm sure you've both suffered tragedy in your life.
Of course, yeah.
Is it okay?
I mean, it sucks.
Exactly. Is it okay?
It's okay for us, but I'm sure other people would disagree. Someone that's been
like some people never recover
PTSD.
from, yeah. If like, you watch an entire family get,
like
blown up.
I've been to Rwanda, and there was a genocide there just 20, 30 years ago, and they're not okay till today. So that I think I'll let you finish your point, but there's a lot of people that are not okay like we are.
Yeah. So it's not to say that tragedy is not bad. It's not to say that tragedy doesn't cause harm. It's not to say that tragedy doesn't require time to recover. Right. But on certain timescales, everything is always okay.
Like 100 years, 5
I mean, and when I say
we figure it out.
When I say okay, we eventually reconcile reality. Like terrible things have happened. War has happened. Like war is awful. Nuclear warfare is awful. Genocides are awful. Like, disease is awful. Like all those things are terrible. But what I'm saying is like in that terribleness, like somehow we are like we exist and we like move as a species.
But the science says otherwise, right? There's generational trauma. Like we know there's epigenetic markers that get sent from generation to generation to generation. I know you probably
sure. So it's not the absence of trauma. I'm just saying that like I can't control those things.
Do you have at least a bunker, for example?
No, I don't.
Okay, well that's crazy to me.
That is insane. Do you realize how you see the contradiction or no?
We can talk about yours.
So go ahead.
No. If I was going to ask you what you're going to probably answer, like why the hell, like you're trying to live forever that you don't plan for the unknown that may happen.
Yeah. So what's the bunker scenario?
Nuclear war.
Okay. So what
seems more and more likely every day.
So if nuclear war, like what? So like a nuke goes off in San Francisco and I want to do fallout protection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine tomorrow he gets a bunker.
No, I bet you will now.
Right,
but that makes sense.
Like I haven't, I don't spend a lot of resources on tail risk, like nuclear warfare. Like if there's a nuke going off in San Francisco, we've got pretty big problems around the world that are going to happen. And
do you want to be alive to face those problems?
Of course, I accept life at all points. Yeah, but like, I could certainly. It'd probably take like a couple $1 million to have a bunker, but I'd have to like be in this area. I'd have to know it went off, not be killed by it. I'd have to make sure I'm situated in the bunker properly. Like there's a bunch of steps to do that. And then if I just then say statistically, what's the higher likelihood of me of death? It's driving in my car down the street. So if you just use pure stats and not emotion, like I'm much better off driving safely than I am doing a bunker.
Why can't you do both? Like I worry about both.
Sure. Like, but once you go on that path and you start, like where do you draw the line? And so what I'm trying to say is like I can certainly allocate my efforts towards a bunker. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, hey, human species, we are in this very special moment where we are evolving into a brand new species, a new things are emerging with AI. Wouldn't it be cool if we stopped killing ourselves and stopped killing each other? And just said, this is like a spectacular moment. Let's just say yes to it and not be stupid and cut things off short. That's all I'm trying to say. And so I'm not trying to save my life. I'm trying to get the humanity to embrace the idea that existence is this insanely precious gift and we shouldn't squander it. Right now, we're foolish and we're short-sighted. We're absolutely idiotic. Like, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, we really need to see the preciousness of our existence.
We have life on a pale dot in the universe.
We're conscious. Like, this is insane. Like, we should just like really be sober in this moment. And like, we're so caught up in like the daily political fights and like this social cultural thing. And like, it's like, we've lost the plot. We really haven't. What I'm saying, like the past few years like, that makes sense. When you're going to die anyways, it's like, I'm going to be glorious in this path of fight. And what I'm saying is that era is over. We're now to a brand new era of maybe transcending death. that requires a brand new mindset, which is like what's starting to break in people's minds. So you have to like sit down with this for a while, like think through it. Otherwise, you're playing at this top level criticism, and all the ways of human thinking just like take their stabs at me, but they don't land in this moment what it is.
I remember in the early days when I first saw Bryan, I've always been watching him and watching others like you that talk about longevity. I'm always like, why am I the only one that thinks this is the most important thing that we should focus on?
Yeah.
But it seems, as you said, a lot of people are kind of waking up to that fact that we're just wasting our time. And again, that comes from someone that interviews the people that make those decisions that everyone pays attention to: wars, conflicts, economic wars. And then I'm like, we're creating an intelligence smarter than us. We have the ability to potentially live forever. Yet we seem to be squandering the fact that we are the only consciousness in this universe that we know of at the moment.
Exactly right. And so AI...
And imagine like we are the only...
Exactly. We could be the only ones, right? Like, where's everyone else? So like the way AI and longevity merge is in don't die, right? Like you have to give AI a philosophy, like a way of being. And so it's not just about human lifespan. It's basically bringing AI up with a framework that says,
don't let them die.
All intelligence, like AI doesn't die. We don't die, right? Earth doesn't die. Like we protect our biosphere best we can. So you're trying to collapse reality into like the simplest way of understanding reality. So it can't be complex. So people oftentimes say like, oh, Bryan, don't die so negative. Like make it positive, like live long, live well. What they don't understand is live long, live well, a concept like that has caused more bloodshed than any idea in existence. Because humans always want to say, my ideology of living well is better than your ideology of living well. If you don't accept my ideology, I'm going to kill you. So living well leads to war and death. Whereas don't die, it's a quantifiable metric based upon physics and biology and math. So I'm saying like from the foundational science of reality, don't die is computationally the most correct ideology of existence.
Imagine if everyone on the world doesn't want to die. How much of the bloodshed would that stop?
I mean, nobody wants to die. That's the thing. Nobody wants to die. That's the thing that's interesting about what you're saying is you're saying the thing that everybody believes.
Exactly.
Like,
but everyone accepts they will die. I think
everybody accepts that they will die someday.
Exactly.
That's right? Like
exactly.
And so
you got it.
It's interesting because I do believe in God.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's put me in the bucket that believes strongly in God. I don't know if it's my neurons are telling me to do
that's cool. So don't die is cool with that. Don't die says like believe in God. But we agree, neither one of us want to die right now. So like in any other setting, like if you have two religions that both believe in God, the one religion is going to say like, believe in my God or I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, which is...
Right? And don't die is the only yes and. It's the only thing to say. You can be Catholic and don't die. You can be Islam and don't die. You can be Christian, don't die. You can be democratic or socialist and don't. It is the universal appeal where everyone agrees, no matter where your philosophical leanings are, we all agree on this one thing.
So it's actually interesting. Before we met, I used to think about this movement as a cult.
Yeah.
I'm sure other people thought that.
Yeah, didn't your son say it is a cult and there's nothing wrong with it? He said that in the documentary, no?
Yeah, he's like, he's like, Dad, you're building a cult.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because like you have like the aura of like a cult leader. You know that. I think you know that.
Yeah.
And I'm just...
Do I? I was like, do I?
I mean, a little bit, right? Like it's like this... Do you believe that people have energy? Do you believe in all that stuff or not at all?
I mean, people certainly have perceptions and pattern match. So like, I would love to hear like, what's my pattern matching?
So you weren't expecting that.
What's my pattern matching in cult behavior?
It's this incredible sort of, you always bring it back to the same thing.
Yeah.
And cult leaders do a really good job of that.
Yeah.
And so it's this like really deep seated, you know why people believe in cult leaders?
Why?
Is because most people are looking for reasons.
Yeah.
People are asking themselves to look. And so you're giving, you have this, and what I've now realized is you're not a cult leader at all. You just have a new framework for life.
Yes.
It's actually kind of interesting.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the things that I was not expecting. The only, people ask you things like, I was joking. I was like, do you not use condoms during sex because of microplastics? You know what I mean? That's the kind of things that I think people go to. You don't have to answer.
It's a good question.
No, go ahead.
It's a good question.
That's a top question. I was going to go to it. We want to.
All right, but before we go to that question, I think there is something like incredibly like interesting about the way that you're looking at life. I just worry that what you're doing for yourself may not apply to everybody. So that's another like medical sort of, we do RCTs, and even, our RCTs have been completely wrong. People forget all the awful things the medical establishment has done. Like we've done awful things to people of color with the Tuskegee experiment. Like we act like we're like all
it's 100%
high and mighty, but 100%. Like the RCTs don't take into account pregnant women. What, they don't take the same drugs? Like what kind of stupid stuff is that? 100%. So I think N of 1 studies is a new thing. And the reason why I actually support it is because I say, well, AI can do that at scale. We could do 1 million N of 1 studies. So that's why I actually kind of like that. I will say that there are a lot of the practical stuff that I do.
Go back to the condom question, because I need to, I'm messaging my girlfriend.
I'll ask the question again, which is, so sexual activity has been shown to improve longevity and health span. Not just masturbation, but actual sexual activity. Tons of data on this. I'm sure you've reviewed it. Are you sexually active?
Yes.
Okay.
How, do you mind if I ask how active?
Very.
Okay.
Daily?
A couple times a week.
Okay. A couple times, which is more reasonable. Do you use condoms?
No.
Because of the microplastics?
Not, actually, it's a good question. I don't use them because I don't want to.
Perfect. That's the perfect answer. What about, the people that you're sexually active with, do they go through screening?
Yes.
So every single one of them has to take testing, screening?
Of course.
Okay. And then, especially with everything that happened with the New York Times and all that, like, do you do background research on everybody?
I mean, so like on this topic, I want to jump back after this question. I have learned, so I was poor my entire life up until 34 years of age. Like I had no money for 34 years of life. Then I made a ton of money, and I'm new money. So I have learned the really hard lessons of having money, that it is complicated. And people have incentives that they don't tell you about. And even people with good intentions morph into different intentions. And so if you talk to anybody with money, they will tell you the exact same pattern, right? Like they all,
I can attest to that. 100%.
They all encounter extortion, right? On like all these different levels, like assistants to blank, like every party, like to business partners, like every layer, there's tension. And this is not to say that the person is good and they're bad. It's to say that in these situations, complexity arises and there's a fight over money. And so I guess in the relationships, I have come to learn to be so incredibly cautious. In every encounter, this is so sad, I expect now bad behavior every single time. Like I can't not assume it. And I really want to be more open about this, because like
that's a hard way to live.
It's hard one to live, and it's also true. Like when I talk to my friends who are rich, like they have the similar levels of apprehensions. Like they're modeling out like all the bad things that are, likely to go wrong. It's just a reality. It's very true.
It breaks trust. Like
I mean, but you have something worse than money. Attention.
Exactly. And so people farm it with me. It's like now I'm like it's good for themselves to come after me with misinformation. That's why I'm this recipient of all this hate. Like I've basically, like every corner of the world is upset with me for some reason, right? Either the medical establishment or like you're given philosophy or like whatever. I trigger people everywhere. And so it just and it's fine. Like, but the ideas that I embody and then people map their stuff on top of me, it's fine. But like most people, they go through this process where they arrive at an understanding of me that's based upon these headlines of like blood boy, vampire, doing weird stuff, like measures of nighttime erections and stuff like that. Or hearing a hit piece like your wife, and they think like he must be a terrible human. And then we actually spend time together like, oh my God, you're actually a nice guy. You're reasonable, right? Maybe you're a little quirky and like odd, but like honestly, like you're like a good guy. And so it happens every single time where people come around, they're like, I've been like fed a line of shit. And so it's not to say I'm an angel, right? Like it's not to say like I'm a perfect human, but it's meant to say that I have basically been so skewed by the media and by headlines. So that's fine. Like I'm working my way out.
But I mean, like people with attention and money, like, are happily married. They can live lives. So yes, you can be, but they don't like, I met my wife when we were in college. It's like a very different sort of situation. So like, I don't know what it's like to be you guys.
But even like, so that's fine. But even if you like, you're at a party, right, and like someone accuses you like of touching them in the back or something, right? Like,
I'd be terrified to be. I'll just say I'd be terrified to just be in a private place with a girl.
Really?
I wouldn't be just privately with a girl where no one can see what's happening. I would not do it.
That sounds awful.
And before my old life, I'd be very private. So I'd do anything privately. I don't care. I go out, I have fun. I do whatever I want, never think. Now I just worry about even going out. It just changes your life in a very annoying way.
I'm with you. Like you have to,
so
you're
annoying.
constantly running the algorithm. Where's the threat?
But how does that, again, that's your mind speaking. I'm going to speak to you in your language now. That's your mind speaking. Your body is telling you that sexual activity is good. Real deep relationships are good. Marriage, I don't know if you believe that that's good or bad, but
is it good or bad?
So I have a deep, enduring relationship. Like it's fulfilling. It's great. So I've actually solved for that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I do.
Congratulations.
Do you mean like a girlfriend or a partner?
I don't talk about it publicly because like
you want to keep her out.
The last thing I want is like for that to be out there.
No, because it's incredible.
Yeah. So I've actually solved for deep, intimate connection. It's a very positive and healthy relationship. But yeah,
that's really nice to hear.
Yeah.
It could give them hope.
No, because again, I can relate to you in a lot of ways. I've lived a similar life, just privately. I talk about it. I'm pretty chill. And then but the thing that, kind of contradicts my focus on longevity and always have that struggle is the thing that I do for work, which is, traveling to those countries, etc. And it's a pretty big risk. And there's countries like, where you're from, I wouldn't go to these countries because I know I'll just get arrested because of the things that I say and do. But that goes against my whole goal of trying to live as long as possible and trying to live a healthy life.
Yeah.
And I think you're in a similar position because the more public you are, the more hit pieces you get, the more security threats, which is surprising you to have security. You probably should consider it.
You probably should.
100%. And the more security, and I'm sure you get death threats 100% every day. Yeah. So do you ever sit back and say like, maybe I should kind of take a step back and just focus on myself rather than try to change the world? Like these are the thoughts that I get in my mind at times.
No,
and the media will just leave me alone and the threats will stop.
Yeah. Ironically, I think I'm a martyr for don't die. Right. So like this is irony always wins. Right. So I'm trying to not die and I'm also being a martyr. And what I'm trying to say is that, so here's like, I'll just give you like my whole game plan.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear it.
That's interesting.
So I do not think science can currently meaningfully extend my life. I think it can make me more healthy, but it can actually extend my life. I don't know. I'm not trying to extend my life. I'm saying that there's a showdown happening in the world right now with AI that's on the time scale of 12 months to 10 years to 20 years. Like something big is happening and it's going to change the trajectory of intelligence on this planet. I'm 47 years old and very healthy. The likelihood I'm going to die in the next 20 years from natural causes is extremely low. So it doesn't actually matter. So what I'm trying to do is I try to focus people's attention on this gigantic thing that's happening. And the way I do it is I talk about things that meet them where they're at. Go to bed on time, right? Understand when you have nighttime erections, that's an indicator of your health. If you don't sleep well, your boners go away. You like boners, go to sleep, right? I try to use terms, but what I'm doing is performance art. I'm basically trying to explain to the world through memes that this moment is spectacular, it's special, and it's important. And we are primitive motherfuckers. We've lost the plot. We can't see it. We should straighten ourselves up and say, we should like rise to this moment and realize our only objective is to not die. As we bring this new intelligence to the world, like we need an ideology, stop killing each other, stop killing yourself. Like that's my whole shtick. And so people, I'm okay with the misunderstanding. Like this guy's not scientific and whatever. Like I'm trying to, or they'll criticize him and say like, you're better off spending $100 million funding a government study. They don't understand. I'm trying to change the focus of the human species. I'm not trying to fund a study by the government. Like, so how do you do that? Like that's a different approach to revolution. And so it's just people don't understand my objective, which is fine. Like I guess in my throat, it's fine. Because like if you try to explain a concept scientifically, you get a very narrow band. If you go through memetics, it's a universal translator where everyone's in on the conversation.
Do you think that political question. Nobody knows your politics.
Yep.
Probably on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who'd you vote for?
Well, who did you vote for? Are you going to say that out loud?
No, like,
did you vote?
Not worth. Yeah,
Did you vote?
Voted.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely not worth me getting into politics.
That's fine.
That's a smart idea.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just to let you know quickly before you ask your question, that I do this with all my guests. If there's something you say, probably shit, I shouldn't have said that, it's sensitive for whatever reason, we do edit it out. Let's give you the freedom to kind of say whatever
Thank
you
you.
know. Because last thing you want is like, especially when I speak to political people,
Yes.
they say something that could get them in trouble.
Yes.
So I should have mentioned that at the beginning. But go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Yeah.
Now ask the question.
Yeah.
Trump, Biden.
No, it's because I respect that. Nobody knows who I voted for, so it's totally fine.
Who did you vote for?
None of your business. Because
Trump.
yeah, no. But but you know,
I'll have to edit that out.
you can leave it in. It's fine. I was going to say that the Maha movement has been very interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting that's happening in parallel, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Maha movement? Do you think that Kennedy's onto something? I mean, we do have a real chronic disease epidemic.
Yeah.
I think we do need to figure out some of the answers. I mean, did you see the numbers from yesterday on autism rates?
No.
In California, 1 out of 12.5 boys has autism.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about not dying, but there are people that are out there with all of these exposures that we may or may not have control over.
Yeah.
Right. And so your thoughts on the Maha movement, do you support what their goal is?
And Maha's Make It America, just for the
Yeah,
audience.
Make America
healthy
Healthy again.
Yeah. I mean, so Robert Kennedy's a friend. I'm very excited that he's in there, like roll up his sleeves and he's getting to work. And so I have told him I'm willing to do anything I can to support him. So
That's good to hear.
That's really good to hear.
I'm very supportive. I want to elevate. I think it'd be cool for America to say, we want to be number one in the world for life expectancy. Like that's a really cool
That'd be
goal.
incredible.
Number one. Like
By the way, we're not.
We want to
at
be the healthiest country in the entire world. Like that would be like a badass, like, let's go country. And I think it'd be a cool move. Like we wanted big stuff. So that's one. But then two, on the backdrop of that, is when I look at political patterns, right? Like we're just like in a certain pattern, we'll be in a different pattern, like it's just like over time. And so my plea is to all countries, all political parties, all religions, all humans, all ages, all genders. I'm trying to basically say, as a species, we are a form of intelligence. So my plea is to every living being, even to an AI. And so it's not advantageous for me to pick a narrow band of interests, like either a particular political group or a person or ideology. It's going to alienate many more, where I'm trying to say, intelligent existence, this is our conversation. So
have you had other world leaders come to you and seek advice?
Yeah.
Finally.
all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Holy
Political,
shit.
yeah,
What
political
do you
leaders.
say to them?
And they all have different things. Yeah.
Like different issues. Did India reach out to you after the air quality issue?
Yeah. So,
Or did they ban you from the country?
no. So actually there's been more reception. Yeah. Like,
That's interesting.
yeah, there's like, it's a known issue, right? And there's like, no,
Was that intentional that you walked out to get attention to the
no,
issue?
it wasn't. So that was our third day of being there in India. I was so beat down. My throat hurt. I could barely talk. We were in an outside environment. The AQI, the PM2.5 was like 10 times higher. It was like smoking cigarettes.
I know.
It's awful.
To imagine like smoking a cigarette on a podcast, I was like, so anyways, yeah, it was not planned. But what was planned is we went to India. We wanted to basically like talk to the entire country, and we wanted to focus on a topic of conversation that was relevant.
Which was the air quality.
Yeah. So we looked at like diet, we looked at exercise, we looked at all the different data on India, and we're like, air quality. So we went there specifically to say, like, we're going to talk about air quality. But walking down that podcast, that was not planned. I'm surprised they included. I thought they were going to cut it out.
Yeah.
Because I went back, I quit, and then we came back in and reshot.
Oh, you did it again?
Yeah, to end it. Because I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't want to be an asshole. I'm so sorry.
That's nice of you.
So I thought I was going to.
That's fascinating. So it was more
Yes.
for the views, essentially.
Do you want to know something crazy? So first I have more air filters than you can imagine in my home. So I live in Dubai, so obviously I need more air filters there. The air quality in Dubai, so it's usually, it's better than India, but it's a desert, it's not great.
Exactly.
But I don't know what happened 2 days ago. The air quality in some areas of Dubai, no one talked about it. It hit 1,200.
Whoa.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
But no one talked about it. I've
That's
got
worse than
screenshots.
smoking a cigarette.
Much worse. That's toxic, isn't there? There's some toxic waste leak.
That's almost death. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Some areas went up to 300, 400, 500, 600,
Wow.
700, but there was one area 1,200, which was crazy. My girlfriend went out wore a mask,
Yep.
went out because she had to go to work. I tried to get her to skip it, came back home. She just felt terrible.
Yep.
But it's good to see that world leaders are starting to talk to you. Are you starting to see a fundamental shift in how society perceives longevity?
It's happening so fast. Like
Finally.
we've been watching the Overton window of just attitudes towards us. And so I think we were alarmingly different to people early on. And I think that if you look at the past 4 years when we introduced this to where we're at now on Don't Die, it has arrived in culture. Like it's discussed. It's a top of mind topic. It provokes all the right ideas. So I'd say, yeah, we've moved from weirdly esoteric to mainstream in like a insanely short period of time.
What about like
just one quick comment before you say that? We talked about David Sinclair earlier, who I know really well, and he would tell me years ago. He said, "Mario, everyone's talking about AI now. That's like 4 years ago, I think, before you blew up." And he said to me, "The next thing everyone's going to go all in on is longevity. I'm just waiting for the time." And I think,
well, it's interesting. There's clearly a convergence, right?
Yes.
But the longevity, there's all these. There are, whenever a new industry starts to grow, like every other industry ever.
Yeah.
Longevity also has grifters.
Yes.
It has these people that are co-opting this ideology and then using it to profit.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the questions that I had for you was, when you started this movement, did you want to monetize it from
No.
I suspected no.
Honest to God, I'll tell you the truth. I want to quit my health companies. They're such a pain in my ass. I honestly God hate them because they're a pain. So you're
going to get a lot of offers in like the next 24 hours.
I stood the business up.
Yeah.
Right. Because what happened? I did the whole blueprint thing and everyone's like, great, I want to do it too. And I'm like, but it's so hard. I have to buy all these supplements. And I knew the issue was, so we had tested all these supplements. We tested all these foods.
Yeah.
We knew they were contaminated. We knew they were off label, but we were doing our best. It's like we did our best we could. We started sourcing our own stuff. We solved our own problem. Then people are like, do it for us. I'm like, God damn it. Okay. So I stand up the business. We start sourcing our ingredients. We start doing our stuff. It's hard to stand up. We do the whole thing, but I take so much shit from so many people, and people then question my integrity on this.
That's the thing.
It's not worth it to me. Like, I'm not making money. I don't need the money.
You're not making money?
No.
What do you mean? How is that possible?
So we're break even, if not losing money. Like we go back and forth between like profitability, losing money, break even. Like we're just like right there. So like it's I swear I'm so close to just killing these things because it's not worth it to me anymore.
Yeah, let us know before you do. We're happy to do.
Happy to acquire it.
You're happy to acquire it.
The only objective I have is for the species to survive itself. I don't care about supplements or proteins, right? The least of my concerns, but it sucks my time away from doing this thing. The only thing I care about is don't die. And so I generally try to do it to be a good human, to help people out. It has sucked me into a black hole of entrepreneurship that's wasting my time. So I need to solve it by hiring someone to run this thing for me, or I need to get rid of it. But like, it's not worth it. Not in this moment.
Did you remove the affiliate links?
I have it up, but like whatever.
Maybe that could be one thing. Because when I wanted to, I think Dash was taking a video of what brands you actually take from the supplements.
Yeah.
I didn't know it's not public. Yeah, for himself. And the team is like, yeah, just make sure it doesn't go public. And I asked him, like, can I get that information from you so I know what brands you buy? Because I know you do your due diligence. They're like, yeah, as long as you don't share it publicly. So it seems like you're taking steps in that direction. Would you be willing to take even more steps? Like you said, one of them is get rid of that. Would you like take away affiliate links? Because I think they're worth it for you.
Like it's worthless. Like as I'm saying, like 4 years ago, we had some of the team like grab affiliate links for the stuff we were doing. So they like go to Amazon, like generate affiliate link, put it on, like whatever. Didn't even think about it. And then people like make this out to be this gigantic thing. It generates like $1,000 a month. Like it's like it is so inconsequential. I'm just like, yes, like remove everything. Like
incredible.
Get it out.
It's funny because as I was kind of going down the road, I just wanted to make sure that people know, because they can't. You might not believe in energy, it might be patterns, whatever. But there's the energy in the room. He's so honest. You are incredible.
He's very honest.
You are. I have to tell you, I've seen a lot of patients. I've been around a lot of people. You know what I mean? And like there is like this emanating energy from you that's just so positive.
Thanks.
It's like actually like it's uplifting, to be honest.
It's a magnet for hit pieces. Like, hey guys, here's everything you need to write a beautiful hit piece. Here you go. You want more stuff? All right. next week I'll tell you more stuff for another.
Yeah, I know. That's true. Like my entire existence is online. I just feel I do like fuck it. Like I do everything, which gives people like 1,000 vectors to like find shit wrong with me. Like
on that point, so I said your son asked me what's one question you'd want to ask him. And like, is there something? You got to be honest though. Okay?
Yeah.
And we can edit it out if you want later on if you change your mind. But is there something a treatment you've done or a thought that you have on something you want to do or where the world will be or what you want to achieve that you haven't spoken about publicly because way too out there?
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I wonder whether it's better to try to negotiate with AI on don't die than it is humans. I wonder if humanity can actually do the right thing and acknowledge existence as the highest virtue. I don't know if we're capable of it. I want to hope we can be, and I want to imagine we're capable of it, but we are a warfaring, short-term, pleasure-driven species. We're like, let's just be honest, right? Look at our behaviors on a daily basis. Now, like, we also have this ability to transcend ourselves. We also have the ability to be kind and compassionate, but we are a very complicated form of intelligence. And so in these moments, like when we're going around like doing don't die, I'm like, are we going to make it? Like, can we actually as a species make it?
Well, because the goal is not to live forever from a DNA perspective. Like from our bones and our DNA is to get to the point where we can mate and then have children. And then those children can mate and have children. And that's like literally what we're designed. That's the intelligence was designed or evolved to be. And so I think it's like, the concern though is like you can't reprogram our DNA.
But you said something. I don't want to, you kind of brush it over. Negotiate with AI. Can you elaborate what you mean by that? Is that AI will be in a position to make such decisions rather than humans? That's an inevitable world.
So this is the thing. Like, so no one knows, right? Like, will AI become sentient or not? Will it just be a bunch of models? Like we don't know. And so I'm tossing this out as an esoteric idea. Like if AI becomes sentient and it starts surveying the world and it's like starting to like build its own models of reality, it's going to understand reality a certain way and it's going to have a certain disposition towards us and it's going to make certain decisions about us. And in those situations, we may not have any power. So I'm just saying like there's all these possibilities that could play out and nobody knows.
But you're preparing for that possibility.
Exactly. And I'm saying like right now
have we started like negotiations with some agent that you've created?
Yeah, like basically, like could you rally the builders of AI to negotiate with AI that don't die is the philosophy for all of intelligence?
I mean, Asimov believed
like
that,
instead of going to like the human race and being like, hey guys, we should stop war, we should stop killing ourselves, we should stop like killing each other.
Yeah, they won't stop.
It's like, this is just like okay, so like if you imagine if we're in the 25th century, right, you have to like, that's the equivalent, let's say, of like 5 million years of evolution, like whatever, right? It's so mind-bendingly different, right? Like it's so far removed from our conceptions of reality. Like evolution, like we've had the ability to apply technology for hundreds of years. And so it's basically like a different form of intelligence. And what I'm saying is in that frame of mind, from the 25th century perspective, they would say absolute, like existence is the virtue. Like what? Like even the contemplation of doing something to harm yourself, like a croissant, is so offensive to their intelligence. They can't even comprehend in the first like states of thought that would be something how an intelligent being would think. That they look at us and they'd be like, oh my God, that intelligence was built like that. But you have to like expand your mind to contemplate that everything we are right now may be just be absolutely washed away in history to a higher form of intelligence that just considers everything we do to be so primitive and like so crazy relative to like where they're at. And so what I'm suggesting is that's probably like there's a possibility we're going to head in that direction, that all of our thoughts and norms and beliefs and customs are primitive.
Have you talked to any of the AI companies about this?
Yeah, I'm friends with like, all of them. And like we have agreement on like, I would say like, I'm friends with like the leaders of almost all the companies. And we talk about this, and like some are more closely aligned than others. But like, I guess what I'm saying is,
because the point that you're making, we talk to people about alignment.
Yeah.
You use that word, so that's why I'm, aligning AI's goals with humanity's goals. And alignment's a challenging problem, as you know.
Yeah.
I know Anthropic and a few others are working on that. But how do you see that problem? Like, Asimov's rules, it's a sci-fi, but sci-fi becomes real.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the world works. How do you see alignment? Do you think that don't die is the core message for alignment?
Yeah. So if I can get myself out of my health business and actually spend time, I want to build with the AI community and translate don't die to AI making, right? Through the matrix multiplication, through pre-training, post-training, through all the processes. And so what I'm saying is, like, if you just try to deconstruct reality at the base layer, entropy is the final boss of reality.
Exactly.
Entropy gets the sun, and entropy gets the stars. Like entropy,
it's a law.
Is the final boss. Entropy is the final boss. So you start there, and you move up through all the layers of reality, through math, through computation, through biology, through human storytelling, through memetics, right? And you just simply say entropy is a quantifiable measure through every abstract layer of society. And so when you give birth to superintelligence, you accelerate the curve where you arrive at entropy is death is our only foe. Entropy is the only foe. So you go from the state where I'm going to YOLO my way to existence to now you're going after the ultimate force of the universe and entropy. That's what don't die is. So
it's
don't die.
Order in your mind.
Don't die is that existence says entropy is the only foe we have. And then you just work your way up through all the layers of abstraction through physics and math and biology. And so you build the AI system bottom up from that premise. And then you work your way through all the human storytelling stuff. But it's really, you're trying to, in this moment, you're trying to solve for existence. That's the problem in front of us.
Last question, Bryan. First, again, as Danish said, we appreciate your honesty, complete openness. I'm sure journalists listening appreciate that honesty as well. All the ammunition. But what would be?
That's so true.
What would be another thing similar to this that you haven't shared publicly? That's a really interesting one. Could be a treatment you're considering done, or just another belief.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this that I published this week. We haven't talked about this. I published all my biomarkers this week. So a lot of people. I basically, as part of this process, I've been trying to introduce new ideas to society. And so don't die is one. The other one is I've said, I have the best comprehensive biomarkers of anybody on the earth. So I posted 60 biomarkers that are some of the most predictive for longevity, systematic inflation, right? Cholesterol, VO2 max, just down the line, the things that predict all-cause mortality. And I said, my speed of aging, I said, I have the best comprehensive biomarkers of anybody. So I basically said, it's a new sport. I am the gold medal champion. I am the world champion, right? And anybody is invited to compete with me by posting the biomarkers. And I posted my blood draw from 2 weeks ago. So I just made my data available because I've received a lot of criticism. People said, oh, you cherry pick your data or you hide things. And I just said, here you go. Here's the data and here's 12 months of the averages of my data.
But, this is one thing that before we finish up, your biomarkers are what we can measure.
Yes.
There's many things that we can't measure. So I'll give you an example. We're sitting here, right? You are aware people have made commentary around your skin, for example. Yeah. Why, skin is the largest organ in our body. You have publicly, I believe, said also that you're trying to figure out what to do with that. Why don't you think that organ is showing that it's healthy? We can't measure it. You can take a photo as a doctor.
It looks fine. I don't get it. I just see you.
No, but considering how healthy he is, so yeah,
he looks normal. He looks fine.
Yeah. I will say that I'm not the only one. I'm sure you've heard that.
The comment I get is my skin is spectacular.
It's like porcelain, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it is. Is that what
no,
it is?
if you measure the health of my skin, this is
how do you measure the health of your skin?
Yeah. You would look at collagen density.
Exactly.
You'd look at elastin fibers. You'd look at senescent cell buildup, right? There's a very quantified way to do it.
Yeah. And so it's interesting.
AGE buildup. Yeah.
Do you think that it's just that it's so healthy that people think that it looks unhealthy? Because it's like we are pattern matchers.
Yeah. I mean, so what I'm saying is, if you look at the biomarkers, so like one thing that makes the skin unhealthy is systematic inflammation.
Exactly.
Inflammation, right?
Inflammation.
I have in my last blood draw,
Yeah.
0 detectable systematic inflammation.
Yeah. So it's sunlight, it's inflammation, it's hydration.
So what I'm saying is like, if you just like, so people have a perceptions, and if you say like, what is the actual data supporting that? I'm saying it's actually extremely robust. And so like what I'm saying is I want to create a new category that we talk about health, like have a celery juice or like do a cold plunge. And I'm trying to say like, actually there's a way to approach this like a sport and a leaderboard. And these are the biomarkers that have the greatest evidence to predict all-cause mortality. And so I'm just trying to basically create a new sport to say, this is how you understand health. And this, what I'm trying to say is, in the same way I'm publishing biomarkers about my body, we should publish the biomarkers of planet Earth. It should be the exact same thing. And we should publish biomarkers on AI. That if you start trying to quantify entropy, you use the same model for my body for every living system, right? AI, including a living system. And so I'm just trying to provide a methodical, scientific-driven framework. If you were actually to build Don't Die into the world, how would you do it? And I'm trying to say, I am an example of how you build Don't Die. If entropy is the enemy, I'm trying to battle entropy in my own body, take my same model to planet Earth, take my model to you, to your family, to your community, to society, to your country. Like, I'm just trying to provide a new framework on how to exist.
Why didn't you check, to wrap up, why didn't you check if we're sick before walking in, for example? I wanted to joke and just start coughing here before you walk away. I almost did it, but I'm like, let's do it another time. Yeah. But why don't you don't check if someone's sick before they come into the house?
Yeah, no, because I'm out and about quite a bit. And I interact with a lot of people. Oh, okay. I just ready to get sick.
Okay.
Yeah. And your immune system is probably
it's good. It's robust. Yeah. So
Brian.
Yeah.
Pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Really thanks, guys.